We're here to discuss the homicide investigation concerning Gena Chiodo. As you know, yesterday at about approximately 2:45 p.m., we got a call from the Lake County Sheriff's Department saying that they'd found a body in the woods at Indianapolis Boulevard and Route 2. That body was subsequently transported to the Lake County Coroner's Office, and we have some information to report to you today regarding those findings. With me today is Merrilee Frey, the coroner of Lake County. She's our special guest here, and I'd like to thank her very much for making the trip out here to be with us today to give you the information that you need about this case. I'm going to step back right now and let her tell you her information, and I have some more things for you afterwards. Ms. Frey.
Thank you. And I'd like to initially extend my condolences and sympathies to the family and friends of Gena Chiodo. I'd also like to thank the following departments for working very closely with us during this investigation. The Lake County Sheriff's Department, Crime Lab, the Lake County Sheriff's Department, as well as the Calumet City Police Department. Further, I'd like to thank the Lake County Coroner's Office, investigative team, and also our forensic physicians. On Sunday, December 2nd, 2012 at 1:30 p.m., the Lake County Coroner's investigative team was dispatched east of US 41 and south of Route 2 in Lowell, Indiana, in reference to a Jane Doe that was discovered. There was no identification located on or near the body at the time, and the body was in an advanced state of decomposition with signs of trauma to the body. On Monday, December 3rd, an autopsy was performed at the Lake County Coroner's Office Forensic Science Center with findings of many external and internal traumatic injuries as a result due to the assault. I, as Lake County Coroner, was able to secure dental records with our forensic odontologist. Positive identification was made this afternoon, and the decedent has been identified as Gena Chiodo, a 42-year-old female Caucasian. The autopsy has rendered a rule of a homicide. Additionally, I will continue to be working very closely with the Lake County Coroner's Office forensic anthropologist. All questions regarding the autopsy or further results of the autopsy may be directed to the Lake County Coroner's Office if we can answer any more questions. Thank you.
I'd like to once again thank the coroner, Frey, for coming out here and for all the cooperation that her office has given to the Calumet City Police Department and the Major Crimes Task Force that are charged with investigating this horrific crime. Once again, our sympathies go out to the Chiodo family. It has been a long time bringing this to closure, and I'm happy to say that we were able to bring closure to that family. I spoke to the parents of Ms. Chiodo today and expressed my deepest condolences on behalf of all persons involved to them. I'd like to thank the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Without extraordinary help from them, this case would have never gotten to a prosecutorial stage. I think Ms. Anita Alvarez herself is planning on having another press conference, possibly tomorrow, to discuss her involvement in this case. And I do want to tell you that it did go as far as herself in her office that was able to get charges while I was having the decedent's body at that time. So it would be probably a very interesting press conference for those of you that want to join us tomorrow at her office. I'd like to thank the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force, the Lake County Sheriff's Office, my special guest, the Lake County Coroner, Ms. Merrilee Frey, and all her staff, all the Calumet City Police Department, of course, and the Illinois State Police Crime Scene Unit. At this time, again, I offer my condolences to the Chiodo family, and we will entertain any questions that you might have about this investigation.
Do you have any idea of the cause of death?
I'll let the coroner answer that question for you.
The cause of death.
Thank you.
The cause of death is major blunt force trauma, and we'll be working closely with our forensic anthropologists for additional information.
Can you tell if that is from an object, or would that be a fist or an object, or what would
He'll determine those causes. We have a specialist that determines. So it may take a few weeks before we have those reports available.
Do you have any idea how long she has been deceased?
We believe that it may have been as far back, and again, our forensic anthropologists will determine this, but we believe it may have be as far back as the time that she became missing in mid-October.
Let me interject this. She became missing October 13th. She was reported. We actually charged her boyfriend, Donal, D-O-N-O-L, Clark, on Saturday. I believe it was the 17th of October. Correct me on the dates if I'm wrong, but we believe she's been deceased since that time.
Ms. Frey, can you tell me just about the conditions that her body was in? You said it was in deep state of decomposition. Was it probably out in this field that long?
Yes, we believe that would be the case.
Chief, what other tests are you going to be doing? I mean, this body was wrapped in a comforter of some sort, seeing it's connected to the house at all. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, at this particular time, any evidence that was with the body will be analyzed. It will be sent to the crime lab and analyzed, and we will see what evidence comes from that we can pass on for the prosecutorial phase of this investigation. Donald Clark has been charged already with homicide, with a murder, and with concealing a homicide. So the finding of Ms. Chiodo's body at this time is more of a closure for the family, and maybe there'll be some more evidence that we can get that will help the prosecutors in their case. But understand there was already enough evidence to charge him with the homicide and concealing the homicide.
Chief, can you tell us what your investigators believe happened with her? Was she killed at home and then her body brought into Indiana? Can you get into that?
From the best that we can reconstruct at this time, we believe that she was killed in her residence with her boyfriend, by her boyfriend, and then transported somehow to this field where she was found yesterday. In all probability, she's been in that field since he committed the homicide, and wrapped in the sheet or the bed clothing that she was found in.
Is there a possibility of more charges now coming because it was transferred across state lines? Is there a possibility of more charges in Lake County sometime down the road?
You know what, I think maybe tomorrow in Ms. Alvarez's press conference, that might be a question you'd want to ask her specifically, because it is now in her office to prosecute this case, and she would be working with the Indiana officials as to whether there's going to be any additional charges.
Can you say how you came to discover, how the body was discovered?
We believe that we were told that a hunter stumbled over the body in the woods there.
For the coroner, so did the identification basically just come down to dental records, or can you explain how the identification process was made?
That's the determination we made was with the dental records. The Calumet City Police Department sought those dental records and brought them to the Lake County Coroner's office, and we were able to have our forensic odontologists view them, as well as Gena's dental, to be able to make a positive identification. Yes.
Chief, you were pretty certain this was Gena. Was there something about the body besides this autopsy that told you this was her?
No, in actuality, I was not certain that it was her. We were the only one in this area, other than I just learned today that Gary had an open homicide investigation, but their victim did not match the description of the body that was found yesterday in the field. So I wasn't quite sure that it was our victim. We were in one element hoping that it was to bring closure to the family, but in the other not hoping that it wasn't, because keeping hope alive that she might be alive somewhere, although we really knew that she wasn't.
We've heard that Mr. Clark's cell phone records were actually used to indicate that he was down in Lowell, in that area, on the time that he was that this crime supposedly took place. Can you say anything about that? How that?
You know, I won't confirm or deny that. We used all investigative methods to determine areas of probability when we were conducting our searches. Certainly, most of you know from your experience that that's one of the things that we do utilize in conducting an investigation. But specifically what we used in this investigation was, I'm not going to divulge those techniques, but we discovered the body when the hunters stumbled upon it.
Was this an area that had ever been searched before by yourself or maybe any of Ms. Chiodo's friends?
Obviously, because we didn't find the body until yesterday, so no.
How isolated an area is this, and how often do people actually go through there?
It was off a service road, approximately 1,500 feet east of Indianapolis and Indianapolis Boulevard and Route 2. So it was in the woods. It wasn't somewhere where everybody would be traipsing through on a daily basis.
Heavily wooded?
Pretty wooded.
But you had the benefit of the mild weather that we have right now, Chief. How much did that work into it? I mean, because usually it was pretty cold.
Well, certainly if the field had been covered or the ground had been covered with a tremendous amount of snow, it might have been longer before we discovered the body. But because there was no snow and the hunters were out about in the woods, they were able to make this discovery.
Had she been buried?
No.
Has Mr. Clark been told that her body's been found?
I don't have any knowledge of that personally. I don't know.
Did he ever say anything that could even remotely be considered as cooperation, or did he just maintain a stubborn resistance throughout? Or
Well, certainly once his lawyer became involved in the investigation, he was to funnel all his comments through his lawyer, and since that date that he engaged a lawyer, he's made no comments directly to us.
Has Ms. Chiodo's family asked you to convey anything to the public or to the members of your task force?
No, they did not. I spoke to her father. They are grateful that we were able to bring closure to the family. They're naturally in a time of mourning at this time, which is understandable, but they are grateful for all the work of all the different agencies and law enforcement officials that helped bring closure to their family.
How long had they been together? The victim and the...
I think they've been living together for approximately a year. Any other questions?
Was
Okay.
she?
Yes.
Was she dressed under the coverlet? Was she wearing any clothing?
No, she had no clothing on.
And it was like a bed sheet or something, or?
It was some bed clothing, yes.
And duct taped?
No, there was no duct tape on the body. She was wrapped in some bed clothing, some bed blankets.
Are you able to tell if there was any defensive wounds or anything like that, or if she was maybe sleeping at the time?
Yes, she did have defensive wounds on her hands. She did. We did see signs of defense wounds.
So you can infer from that there probably was a struggle going on. If you guys have nothing further, this is Commander Weatherfall of this Major Crimes Task Force. He'll be here along with myself and Ms. Frey. We'll take a few brief extra questions, but that'll conclude our press conference at this time. Thank you.